Birches by Robert Frost. The binary opposition in Frost's Birches. Robert Frost's Birches was published in 1916 during the World War I. The poem, originally titled as Swinging on Birches, carries an undertone of turmoil behind an apparent aura of peace and harmony. There is a constant oscillation from the harsh reality to the imagined delight symbolized by the swinging of the birches, an attempt to seek solace in the transcendental world from the world of disquiet and coercion. The binary opposition of reality and imagination, adulthood and childhood, earth and heaven, control and renunciation, flight and return, and black and white seem to pervade the poem in an entrancing demeanor. Employing a first-person conversational style, the poet exquisitely adds an oral texture to the poem as he emphasizes on sound of sense. The birches play the role of a muse to the poet, especially those that are more playful, bending left and right, than their grave counterparts, the straighter, darker trees. The birches bending left and right sets off the poet's imagination, and he wistfully recalls his childhood days of swinging on the birches and bending them. He fondly imagines that the trees are bent by the swinging of some playful boy. However, his rational self makes him realize that no such swinging can bend the trees permanently. Only ice storms can. The birches are coated with a sheet of ice during the ice storm. Next morning, the sun cracks the outer covering of the frozen sheet that falls like crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow. One would imagine that the inner dome of heaven had shattered and fallen to make a heap of broken glass, waiting to be swept away. The birches, so long bent, seem never to be able to straighten up. Years later, when they would trail their leaves on the ground, they would resemble girls bending on their knees to dry their hairs in the sun. So low for long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods, years afterwards trailing their leaves on the ground, like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. Truth thus breaks the fanciful imagination of the narrator. The shattering of the icy covering symbolizes the breaking of dreams as they collide with the struggles and the troubles of the real world. The poet, however, would prefer to stay in his unlimited world of fancy, provided by his own poetic vision. He imagines a solitary boy of rural area playing with the birches all alone, far from the urban world of baseball. He swings amidst nature by subduing one birch after another, relishing the joy of conquering all of them in a meticulous strategy, keeping his poise with much care and control. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you use to fill a cup, up to the brim and even above the brim. The poet urges to go back to that fanciful world of childhood, especially when he is broken down by the lashes of adulthood, and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from a twig's having lashed across it open. The poet only seeks a temporal relief by escaping into a world of glee provided by the swinging of the birches, only to come back rejuvenated to brave the challenges of life. He would like to take a leap towards heaven, not aspiring to sojourn there, but to reinstate his position on earth, the only place where he claims to be imbibed with love. He lets his imagination swing over to something heavenly and then come back again to the real world, as there were darker possibilities of one not making an attempt at all. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. The poet wants to land on the same ground after taking a flight to the heavenly abode. He just wants to let himself go for a while and come back a lighter, a relieved self with a refreshed perspective of life. Thank you.